This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Bullet Train, a newish action comedy from director David Leitch. Leitch? Leitch? It follows several assassins, hitmen, contractors, or whatever you want to call them, all riding on a Japanese bullet train to Kyoto, each with a unique task or assignment, but all of which are interconnected in some way. There's the father, seeking revenge for his comatose son, who was pushed off a rooftop. There's Ladybug, a reluctant and unlucky man who's been asked to do a simple snatch and grab with a briefcase. Lemon and Tangerine are brothers who are escorting the son of a Yakuza boss and a bunch of ransom money after a rescue. And finally, there's the prince, the daughter of the Yakuza boss, who has her own plans to prove herself as a leader. The threads that connect them all will be revealed in due time, but first they have to make it to the last stop without killing each other. This all might sound a bit confusing at first, but it comes together over time, piece by piece, as the stakes in question grow higher and higher, and even more characters become swept up in events. They too have their place in the greater web that ties them all together, and it does almost feel like part of the story direction is simply to add new twists and surprises whenever possible. Thankfully, it's still pretty streamlined in that regard, and it's helped out even further by the actual character performances and interactions, which are themselves certainly a highlight. Not only are the individual characters unique in their own ways, their actual relationships with others, and the clashing personalities that result from their stories coming together are almost the entire crux of the film, given that their individual goals upon the train are what lead to their actual meetings and subsequent clashes. There's also quite a good amount of time just spent on world and character development, some more than others, but just enough to get the idea about who they are and what they want. The story overall has a pretty good balance between building up the plot and giving everybody a chance to shine, with a further balance between all of these major characters that makes it feel like a true ensemble piece. Other than the characters, the film's other major point of attraction is definitely its visual style and production. Despite being set almost entirely on a single train, the different cars that characters pass through are given a unique look to separate them from each other, and add variety and a sense of location, ranging from entirely plain and upscale to being bathed in black lights or neon colors. The outside world beyond the train is also pretty varied, though we don't see much of it in general, and so it's likely just to show progress through the train route. There's also a very slick and speedy pacing across the whole film, not so much to emulate the speed of the bullet train itself, but more to give the story a sense of urgency and calamity while sharing as much information as possible. Even in quieter scenes, there's still a sense of dynamism going on, which never really lets up until close to the film's ending, and even then it still has plenty of fire under its feet. I will say that there are some scenes which feel a bit out of place, one sticking out in my mind being a flashback that introduces a few fourth wall breaks. It is funny, and it's part of the character and story development, but it introduces a concept that doesn't come back again at all later on. Still, it does at least feel consistent with the rest of what's going on. Overall, though, the stylism at play is definitely cohesive, with different touches for each character that keeps them all together in a single world, and with that, a story that makes the best use of its world, which is also able to keep everybody within it on their toes. It may be confusing at times, but it at least tries its best to iron out any kinks. Or, well, I think so. Bullet Train, David Leitch, 2022. 4 stars. If you have a high tolerance for quick pacing, I'd go ahead and say to check this out. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. It would be nice to get more action-packed movies like this around here, honestly. Well, I do get them, but I mean the kind that have stories that are almost just excuses for action scenes. Well, I do get those, but I mean... never mind.